Hello everybody, Saturday morning, April the 7th, 2018. This is Greg Lambert on Lambert Live, and I am on Morecambe Promenade, as you can see, in the pouring rain. That's Morecambe for you. Usually the best view in the world across there. Can't quite see it today. Still amazing though. It's a big day for me. That's the reason why I've come on live here this morning. This is the day I'm going to be inducted into the Morecambe Wrestling Hall of Fame tonight at the Alhambra and Carlton at Alpha Omega Wrestling War on the Shore. It's a huge deal for me, and I thought I would document the day in video. Hence the reason why I'm up and about, and there's nobody else around on this Saturday morning. I'm visiting before the show this evening. I'm just decided to have a little walk along the promenade because the promenade is a massive part of the history of wrestling in Morecambe, which dates back to the 1930s when there was the very first wrestling match in Morecambe, which is, it's an entertainment town. And I'm just walking up to the spot where there used to be wrestling every Tuesday night back in the 30s in Morecambe. Every Tuesday night, like throughout the whole season. That was pretty much like probably the whole year, but certainly April through to September, October. Every Thursday we had wrestling, and it was, where was it? It was around about here. It's not here anymore, but there used to be a pier. Morecambe had a pier like Blackpool. In fact, it had two piers. They're both gone now. The Central Pier, and that was the big wrestling venue for Morecambe back in the 1930s, right the way through. ITV World of Sport was actually broadcast from the Central Pier, and it's at the Central Pier round about 1984-85 where a young high school pupil from Morecambe called Greg Lambert watched his very first wrestling show. I don't remember who was on it. I think Big Daddy might have been. He was on every show back then. Alan Kilby was definitely on it, the deaf wrestler, because I was just marvelling at him and his skills. And yeah, this is pretty much where it was. Burned down the Central Pier in the early 90s, I think around about 1992. So many of these great meccas of Morecambe entertainment, they just aren't here anymore. It's really quite sad. Morecambe used to have about 7 cinemas at one stage. It was, it was like a mini Blackpool. It was the place that people came to on holiday. It's where people used to go out and watch the theatre. The Beatles performed in Morecambe at the old Floral Hall. The Rolling Stones performed in Morecambe. Morecambe was the place to be. All the celebrities came here. Laurel and Hardy performed in Morecambe in the 40s at the Winter Gardens. And yeah, the wrestling was on every Thursday night at the Central Pier. So yeah, that was where I watched my first wrestling show. I was taken to that show by my best friend Mark's dad, Alan Kay, the late Alan Kay. I'd like to thank Alan, God rest his soul, because he's the one who set me on the path really to loving wrestling. I remember being sat around Mark's house actually in the 80s watching World of Sport on Saturday afternoons with Alan, and it was at Mark's house actually with the whole K family where I first watched a WWF pay-per-view in 1989 as well. And thanks to Alan and his contacts at the post office, that's how I used to watch all the WWF videos, because Alan's mate got them recorded, because hardly anybody had Sky TV back then. The K's didn't get Sky TV till I think about 1992 maybe, 93. I didn't get it till 96. I didn't have a house till 96 to be fair. So yeah, thank you to Alan and the whole K family really, and Mark. I'm going to talk about Mark in more detail tonight during my speech, so I'll save that. So yeah, that was the Central Pier. So having a little wander down the promenade. Where's Eric? Oh, he's up there. I wonder where Eric had gone then for a second. He's still here. That was horrible. When I was here when Eric got vandalised a few years ago. That was terrible. Some guy sawed his leg in the middle of the night, and he had to be taken away to be repaired. But he's back now. Good morning, Brian. Good morning, Claire. Thanks for watching. Claire, I'd like to thank you for everything you did for the wrestling in Morecambe while you're on as well, because you were part of the backroom staff at the Morecambe Dome when we used to run the shows, and you helped Sharon. You were a great help to Sharon and a great support to her, so thank you very much to you and to Gareth. So, you know where I'm heading, don't you? If you've watched wrestling in Morecambe for years, you know where I'm going. Here's Eric. Where are you? Oh, there he is. Should we go? We'll just go and say hello to Eric. 1999. The statue. Here he is. Hello, Eric. Good morning. Say hello, Eric. Wave hello. Oh, you are doing. Yeah, it was unveiled in 1999. The great man. This is Mr. Morecambe right here. This is the real Mr. Morecambe. The man who actually took his name, his stage name, from his hometown and took it all around the world and made Morecambe world famous. That's what this man did. Got so much respect for him. When I talk about Morecambe being an entertainment town, this is part of the reason why. I'm proud of the fact that I actually went to the same school as this guy, Lancaster Road Primary School. Thank you for everything you did. Thanks, Eric. So, could have brought sunshine today, though. It's absolutely throwing it down. Dean. Hello, Dean. Thank you. I'm glad you'll be there tonight. It'd be nice to see you. Because you do a lot for entertainment in Morecambe, keeping it alive as well. Doing the karaoke at the Bull Hotel. So, yeah, thank you very much for everything you do. So, we've seen where the Central Pier used to be, where the wrestling used to be in Morecambe. We've seen Eric. Let's have a wander down here and see what we can find. So yeah, if you're looking to come to the wrestling tonight, to be part of the Hall of Fame ceremony, it'd be lovely to see you, but that's not all. It won't just be me prattling on. There's going to be a fantastic night of wrestling action as well at Alpha Omega Wrestling War on the Shore. Starts about 6:30 this evening. I think VIP ticket holders can get in earlier than that, and there will be tickets still available on the door. There's a great night of action. The match I'm most looking forward to is the main event tonight for the Alpha Omega Wrestling Championship. Because that championship, I'll talk about this as well tonight, it's the linear championship, pretty much, of one of the most, well, it is the linear championship of one of the most prestigious championships in British wrestling, because the guy who holds the title right now, King Ryan Grayson, beat the man who beat the man who beat the man who beat the man who beat the man, all the way back to the formation of the FWA Championship in 1999. And the FWA was the promotion that I worked for when I first became a wrestling promoter. And when we ran our first show here in Morecambe on April the 21st, 2003. That was a heck of a day. Myself and Mark stayed up all night waiting for the wrestlers to arrive from Cleethorpes in a van. And then we bundled them into, yeah, that was it, about 5 in the morning, just down there, just opposite from me. We put all the wrestlers, there's about 10 of these big heavyweight wrestlers who were absolutely shattered because they'd been on the road from Cleethorpes all evening after a show the night before. We put them in what used to be, well, it's still there I think. Where is it? There it is, the Lakeland Rooms, Huey O'Hagan's hotel. We put them all in there. Paul Burchill, who went on to the WWE, he was in there. James Ty. Juventud Guerrera wasn't there. He was in Mark Kay's house, sleeping in one of the Kay family beds. He headlined our first show in 2003 against Doug Williams, Juventud Guerrera, famous wrestler from WCW. So across the way here, in the pouring rain in Morecambe, hello Colin, and thank you to Colin and to Alan, his son, for everything you've done for wrestling in Morecambe as well. Colin, another massive part of the behind-the-scenes staff during my days of promoting. Alan started as a trainee at the Morecambe Wrestling Training School that I set up, went on to become a referee for Alpha Omega Wrestling here in Morecambe. So thank you guys. Hope you're there tonight, Colin. It'd be lovely to see you. So yeah, just behind me, oh heck, there's somebody here, is the Winter Gardens. So there it is. So I was talking about wrestling going all the way back to the 1930s in Morecambe, and the Central Pier being the hotbed for wrestling on a Thursday night. Well, on a Tuesday night, they used to run the wrestling there at the Winter Gardens. And the Winter Gardens was like an absolute bastion of entertainment back in the day. I mentioned about Laurel and Hardy performing there, Morecambe and Wise performed there. All the greats. And it's great to see it back up and running today. And you know, it closed in 1977 because it needed a lot of work doing to it. But the Friends of the Winter Gardens took it over, a bunch of Hardy volunteers, formed a trust, got it open again, did a lot of work on it. It's now open fairly regularly for events, and we brought the wrestling back with Alpha Omega, well, paid promotions first of all, and then Alpha Omega Wrestling in 2014. It was great to be there on that night in August when we were able to get wrestling back in there where it belongs, and 1977, I think they had a big Jubilee year, not live, but a television special, World of Sport. Marty Jones was part of that, Dynamite Kid of the British Bulldogs was part of that. A lot of history here in Morecambe for wrestling, because it's an entertainment town, and people love, you know, cheap and cheerful entertainment. That's what Morecambe's all about. And forgetting your worries, just going for a night out, whether it's at the theatre or the cinema or a gig or a festival nowadays. Round about here we run the festivals every year. Carnival, Vintage Festival, Kite Festival, Morecambe Music Festival, which I'm involved in, coming up in July. Amusement arcades, there's Pleasureland. That's what Morecambe's all about. It's an entertainment town. Wrestling is a massive part of that entertainment. Right. Okay, I'm approaching now a place that has still got a massive place in my heart, and when they knocked it down, it was like they ripped a part of my heart out. I'm not exaggerating, I know it's only a building, but you know, when you've sat in the crowd at a venue watching wrestling, which I'm passionate about, which I used to do when I was a teenager, again it was a Thursday night, so Thursday seemed to be very topical. Every Thursday night, myself and my friends, Mark Kay, Daniel Stenbridge, Jason Brown, Robert Dent, Paul Grace, Andrew Garner, Neil Jarrett, Neil Jarrett. That's Neiljarrett for wrestling fans out there. I've watched a bit of their other Hall of Fame this morning. I cried quite a few times, as I do. Yeah, there used to be a very funny shaped building. My good friend Alex Shane, who set me off on the wonderful path of promoting in wrestling when he ran the FWA, used to describe it as a giant breast. The Morecambe Dome used to be there. This is where the entrance was. They used to walk down these steps. The fans would queue all the way down here on a wrestling night, all the way down here, and then, you know, all the way around the corner to where the waterfront bar used to be. And the box office was down here, and Sharon, my wife, and Claire were on the box office welcoming people in. But yeah, like I said, in the 90s I was here as a fan. I used to come here every Thursday night, and I watched people like Daddy Again, Giant Haystacks, Marty Jones, Fit Finlay used to prop up the bar with Princess Paula. Who else was here? Oh, there was a young man. I asked him for his autograph one night and asked him, "Are you going to go and wrestle in America?" And he went, yeah, I think so. A guy called Steve Regal. You might know him better as William Regal. He wrestled here. So yeah, we started promoting here in 2003. And we promoted here solidly right the way through until the year the Dome closed, 2010. We ran about 4 or 5 shows a year in this venue, and we had some amazing times and some amazing nights. The atmosphere was incredible. It's one of the best venues there's ever been for wrestling in Europe, in the world, let alone in this country. It was in the pages of Japanese wrestling magazines, the Morecambe Dome, at one point. We had a show here that was shown in its entirety on Sky TV in 2005, a 3-hour show. I don't think that's been done until recently. Wrestling fans, you know what I mean. Silent Mark says, my first wrestling show there, such a wonderful venue. And Mark, it's great that you're now involved in the Alpha Omega Wrestling as well, front of house, doing what I used to do as the ring announcer. I don't know if you're still doing it, I hope you are, and I hope you're doing it tonight, because that would be very appropriate as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, some great memories here on this sacred ground. Just walk down the steps like we used to do. We used to go into the venue. Here's a funny story about the Morecambe Dome. One night in 2004, we were running a show and there was a concert over in the platform opposite. And the wrestling ring was set up in the middle of the ring, and the fans started filing in the middle of the venue. The fans started filing in, and the first match was underway in the Dome, and this couple got up and walked out. And as they walked out, they went past the box office and they said to Sharon, "What's going on?" And Sharon said, "It's the wrestling." And they said, "Well, when's Midge-Yor coming out?" They'd got to the wrong venue. Midge-Yor was performing at the platform across the way. And this couple had sat there for like 15 minutes with a wrestling ring in the middle of the venue and loads of wrestling fans surrounding them, and waited till the start of the first match before they actually realised they were in the wrong place. Just absolute gold. So yeah, this is where we were, Morecambe Dome. just here. It's been derelict. It was knocked down in 2011. It's been empty ever since. They are doing something with this. I know what they're doing. It's probably the worst kept secret in Morecambe. I could reveal it right now, actually, but I think I'd probably get shot by most of the people at the town hall, so I'm not going to. It'll probably come out quite soon what they're planning to do here, and if they do it, then I think it's a fitting legacy to the Morecambe Dome. I think I probably first came here when it was the Superdome. It opened in 1980, and there used to be a swimming pool, an outdoor swimming pool, around about there, and an indoor swimming pool, which was originally called Morecambe Leisure Park, and then later it was called Bubbles. My wife worked at Bubbles, actually. So yeah, it's just got. I used to come here swimming even before we started coming and watching the wrestling. It's just got a massive place in my heart and a massive part of the history of wrestling in Morecambe. So that'll do, I think, for now, for my trip down memory lane. I hope to see you tonight. I hope somebody will be filming the ceremony for Facebook Live. It'd be nice if that happened. It'd be nice for people to see it. And I hope to see you all there, and thank you to everybody who's ever been involved in wrestling in Morecambe, who's ever been part of my particular journey. Couldn't have done it without any of you. And thank you for making wrestling in Morecambe special. Thank you for making Morecambe such a great entertainment town. I'm off to buy my suit and get what's left of my haircut. I'll see you tonight at the Carlton.